has some floor-to-ceiling windows which actually look out into the courtyard, which is really pretty, and it also peers into the kitchen and our little movie theater room. Because it's so small, I always love creating an impact in small spaces, so I thought a fun wallpaper pattern with some tape would just be a fun project to work on, and I did that. So I started off with some vertical lines. I just used the tape itself as a spacer for all of the lines throughout this. People always ask me how I get them so straight, but honestly, it is a lot easier than you think. I promise you can do it as well. Now, the thing I love about this project is that I'm actually just using remaining paint from leftover projects. So these are all projects from my home. So in the end, this pattern that I'm creating on the wall is gonna actually just reference colors throughout my house and kind of create a cohesive look in this room. This is the color in my movie theater room, which you can actually see right on the edge of the doorway there. If you kind of like look next to the wood, that's the same exact color in the movie room. So I used that on the vertical stripes that we just added on the wall, and I painted that on 2 coats of it, and then I pulled all the tape off to reveal our vertical stripes. That's gonna be your step 1. You can leave it like this if you want to, but I'm going in with a horizontal tape just the same exact way that I did the vertical. I use the tape itself as a spacer, which makes it super easy to get your lines nice and straight, and I did this all the way around and just sandwiched it in between that top and bottom border of the trim that was already here. My house is from 1929, so it has a lot of these really quirky little fun trim details and accents, and this paint color here is actually just remaining from Marie's bedroom. If you guys recall, I did that fun plaster technique in her room, so this was the color we used on the baseboards and the doors, so I painted this on, and the key here is to not remove the tape. You're actually going to let that dry down and then go in with one more row of vertical tape over top, and I'm applying this over anywhere that the mint green was original or your base color is showing. You're going to apply this over the top. The other sections that you're not applying it over is essentially going to be the chocolate brown that's living underneath the paint. It's kind of hard to explain, but once I pull this layer back, you're sort of gonna see, but I'm adding on a final layer of paint, which was the olive green from my office makeover upstairs, if you recall. So I love that I was able to utilize a lot of colors in my home and just the paint cans I already had on hand. And then it was time for the reveal, which I was so excited for, but also a little scared.
The lines are actually so crispy.
It doesn't read as much like a gingham to me as striped stripes, and I love that.
I was so excited once I started pulling back this tape and seeing what was underneath, because the color combination, like the olive green with the mint green with that sort of pinky brown with the chocolate, it is just a fun combo. It reminds me of a mint chip ice cream, and the tape pattern I followed for this would create a traditional gingham style. So if you wanted to give more of a gingham look to a space, you would just do 4 shades of blue or 4 shades of green and just do them kind of similar to each other, and then you would paint them all on in a similar fashion. And when you remove it, all the 4 varying shades would create a really beautiful gingham on the wall. But I just chose some unique shades and just colors I already had on hand, and I didn't know what it was going to look like in the end, but I loved it once I removed the tape, and it was time to figure out what color we were going to be painting the rest of the space, because I wanted to cover up everything else that we essentially didn't paint in phase 1, and I decided on a pink shade. This is Farrow & Ball's Dead Salmon, and there was a color in the wallpaper, the one that I said we used in Marie's bedroom, that sort of has this pinky orangey tone to it, and I just felt like this color would really complement it well. As I was painting it on, I was scared because seeing it next to a lot of the mint green and the white, it was feeling very springtime. But you guys know me, and I love juxtaposition, so I was kind of leaning into this more feminine, springy feel, and I thought with the styling I'd be able to go in and maybe edge it up a little bit, make it feel a little bit more 1920s Spanish. I do have all the original pink tiled bathrooms in this downstairs area, if you recall, so this was also kind of a reference back to the pink bathroom. And once I took a step back and saw the full space, I was loving it. It's definitely different for me. It's fun, it's unique, and I still do need to paint some areas in here, but I just think it's fun, and we're gonna be styling this up, so just you wait.